You remember.
Roll your stealth roll?
Game books, pencils, pizza, cheese puffs, and a hell of a lot of dice.
And the dragon woke up.
Roll for initiative. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
The Roll for Initiative podcast. We're at Volume 6, 182. I'm Vince, sitting with Matt.
Hello, everyone.
And Nick.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
And back again, Mr. Crispy.
It's me, everyone's favorite.
He doesn't make anybody vomit or barf at all.
No.
I'm a little gassy now, though.
Well, okay, so new one. He makes people gassy. So anyway, we're back with another show. We just, came off a nice little vacation, and we're all back. We have something interesting this week, and we have no stars, Nick, correct?
That is correct. We have no stars on iTunes, but just to remind everybody, go to iTunes, go to the iTunes store. You can type in Roll for Initiative in the search, and you can go from there. You can listen to previously downloaded episodes, and you can give us a review on one of our shows, and we might just read it on the show. So there you have it.
Not sure when this podcast will drop, but the Emmy Awards are out for voting right now.
Yes.
Yep.
We want to make sure that Zach Glazer gets a good vote for his Death and Taxes. Good supporter of the show and a good OSR person.
Sweet.
Had a nice interview with him at North Texas RPG Con, so he's always a good guest. So hopefully, I don't know Matt, how long are those voting for? Is it 2 weeks or a week? Or
I think it's, let's see here. To the interwebs.
No.
Annie's.
That doesn't work. Anyway, intermission.
July 21st.
All right, so this should come out before July 21st.
Yep.
Yeah.
And go over there and vote for Zach. Nothing else, just Zach. No, I'm kidding.
I'm voting right now.
I always go look at the Annie Awards, and I don't know any of the stuff. I don't think I ever know any of it.
I haven't voted for the Ennies for a few years, ever since this this really awful OSR game won. I think it was called Pages and Merrills or something like that. I
don't know.
Yeah, well, the new Mazes and Perils that won an Emmy Award is out for Deluxe Edition is out on RPG now, and we released it on North Texas RPG Weekend in June 6th, around there. You can pick it up there. We released a bunch of the supplements, but that's not about this show. So,
right.
Thank you, Crispy.
Thank you, Crispy. Oh, you know who else? I guess I could interject here with this, since you mentioned North Texas RPG Con.
RPG Con, okay.
RPG Con. When I was at Origins, I ran into your buddy from Pace Center Games.
Oh, Bill?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. How was he doing? He was there at North Texas. I didn't have a chance to interview him. I was kind of mad.
I ran into him.
Literally?
Almost. He was painful. I was at the Goodman Games booth, and I was talking with the fine folks there at Goodman Games, and I see this guy walking up there. He's just chit-chatting away, and I'm looking at his tag. I'm like, hey, don't I know you? And he looked at my tag and goes, hey, you're DM Nick. I'm like, oh my God, weren't you just at North Texas RPG Con? And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, this is so cool. So I talked with him, ran into him, and I thought that was pretty cool. Just, small world and all. So
just small world.
Yeah.
I just rode that ride a couple days ago.
You wrote the ride?
I rode that ride.
Oh, I'm sorry for you. Loss is sad.
I didn't even know that ride was still open. I thought that was actually
Fail the sand check.
Yeah, they updated it to have all the Disney princesses.
Oh.
That
all right,
Bill Barsh was there. That was pretty cool.
Cool. So before we head into the meat of the show, just want to tell you about our new sponsor we have on the network. John Rice is sponsoring our podcast for OpenGamingStore.com. He's the same person who created D20PF SRD, so the D20 Pathfinder SRD.com website. where you can find all the stuff that he does, and he has the opengamingstore.com where you can go, and it's a lot like RPG Now and Drive Through RPG, where you can get PDFs of various gaming books. It's really cool because if you back this Patreon right now, you get 10% off all your orders. So once you head over to opengamingstore.com and check out what he has there and sign up for an account and tell him RFI sent you, and he might even give you another discount. I don't know. Maybe.
Just pause the show now and buy some stuff.
Oh, he did say for every $20 in your order, you get a free PDF from d20pdfrsd.com publishing. So, hey, there you go.
Free stuff.
Free stuff. All right. Head into the meat of the show, Table Manners.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I'd like to find one with table manners.
What are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
All right, in Table Manners, we're going to be covering... I've never even heard of this adventure. Rather obscure because it's from the... Basically, it was like the Dragon magazine for the UK, Imagine, right? It was called Imagine.
Yeah. Imagine number 16, July 1984.
Yep, July 1984. And how long did it last? Maybe 2-3 years? It didn't last.
If that. Lasted until 86, maybe?
So maybe lasted about 2 years. But
yeah,
they had an adventure in there called Sethotep, which is a ancient Egypt-based adventure. And this adventure, one of the things I thought interesting was, besides being ancient Egypt orientated, because the only thing you really had before that was I think the Desert and Desolation series of modules, which are proudly sitting on my shelf right now. But this one was interesting because it's multi-statted. So
yeah, is this around the time that they bought Dragon Quest?
I think so, because we talked about that before the show, and it has stats for basic D&D, AD&D, and for Dragon Quest. And for the folks that aren't familiar with Dragon Quest, it was when it was SPI that was a wargaming company, and they were trying to ride the crest of the RPG scene at the time. And I know they came up with Dragon Quest, but if I remember correctly, not Wizards, but TSR bought SPI. And the game just kind of petered out.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened to it. I mean, I think they just put it on the back burner and then got rid of it.
Yeah, it just seemed like one of those. If you're into conspiracies, maybe TSR bought them out so they could kill Dragon Quest. I don't know, but I do remember seeing it in the store. I remember seeing just one book.
Well,
you said, Vince, there was a box set.
Yeah, and TSR actually published Dragon Quest in '89, the 3rd edition.
That might have been the book I saw. I saw it late.
They did move everything from box sets to books at that point. So
yeah, so that might have been what I saw.
Yeah,
and I only recall seeing one article in Dragon magazine that had anything about Dragon Quest, and it was like 3 or 4 pages at that. So
I wonder if it drastically changed that much that killed it. That maybe they tweaked it and killed it.
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I remember seeing that. What Matt said, the 3rd edition of the book, and Vince, you got the 2nd edition box set.
2nd edition box set. Well, it's actually called 2nd edition master set. I don't know why. Right. I've never actually played it. I've only maybe read it once.
Yeah.
Because there was let's see, the 1st edition came in a box set with 3 books. The 2nd edition was like an all-in-one soft cover. So if you have a box set, that's why in its 2nd edition, that's why it's the master set. Because are your books split up, or are they all? Yeah,
there's split up books in there. Maybe they released a box set with some additional stuff in it for 2nd edition.
Yeah. Possibly. I
haven't looked at it in a long time.
Yeah, do believe that there was one other adventure that was formerly published by TSR that was dual statted for AD&D and Dragon Quest, and from what I've read, it's not very good. I don't remember the name of it, but
it's kind of sad too, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, Dragon Quest," and it was like, everyone's like, "Oh, it's like Conan," blah blah blah. And that's why I even bought it to begin with.
Yeah, and it just kind of
went
faded away. Yeah, there was like no support material.
We all know that what's her name at TSR just went, "Nah, this isn't Buck Rogers. Get it out."
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then
good imitation, right?
Yeah, and Wizards of the Coast actually abandoned the trademark for Dragon Quest too.
Oh, so nobody owns it?
Actually, Square Enix does.
Well, yeah, because
the Dragon
Quest is like a series of
it was originally
RPG
called
video games.
Dragon Warrior in the U.S. because of the trademark, but now they just sell it as Dragon Quest. So Dragon Warrior for the NES over in Japan was Dragon Quest. And now the sequels to Dragon Warrior are now called Dragon Quest because they now have the trademark.
Couldn't you trademark it Dragon Quest RPG for tabletop role-playing?
You could try, but I wouldn't want to deal with Square Enix. Because they could say, well, we could take our RPG video game and license it to tabletop. You would have to actually look at the trademark for what all they registered it for.
True. So the lawyers out there, speak up. Email us, darklightstaff@gmail.com. We want to know because Nick wants to make a game again.
I do.
Oh, sorry.
I don't have enough smarts to make my own game.
Aww.
No, we'll just go around and collect all the abandoned RPGs and bring them back.
Well, that's funny because I know Marvel Superheroes, the original game, was that mechanic was never picked up by Wizards of the Coast. All that stuff's out there for free now.
Right.
Every last bit of it.
Well, the game mechanics, yeah, because you actually also cannot copyright game mechanics. You can only patent them. And
you can't copyright math. Right. Is like the argument.
Yeah.
But like all the materials for the original Marvel Superheroes and the advanced Marvel Superhero stuff is out there without copyright infringement.
Whether it's legal or not, that's the gray area. Because the trademarks are still owned by Marvel.
Well, they haven't gone after them yet.
Right. Yeah. It falls into they don't care. But
they're too busy rolling in that Disney money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be too. Anywho, try to get us back on track here. Sorry, everybody.
Nick, let's go. Come on now.
I know.
Nick,
I know.
Come on.
I'm terrible. I hang my head in shame. So it's multi-statted, and there's a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning stating that it's somewhat based on the mythology of ancient Egypt, but it's not, quote-unquote, historically accurate, which
by any
is
means.
a way of saying, all you history nerds, don't freaking kill us.
Right.
Shut up. Saying shut up.
Yes, exactly. So
it must have been a pain back then, Nick, to write all these things with dual statted, tri-statted. It must have been a big pain in the butt. That's all I
can imagine that. I just that was a thing for a time.
Yeah.
I do remember that, and this is a pretty good example of it. I think God, who else did multi-statted stuff back then too? Did some of the Judges Guild stuff I think was maybe multi-statted?
They had their own weirdness going on.
Yeah, back when the compatible with AD&D, take that off your covers now time period.
Now I do remember Chaosium back in the day. I think was doing like multi-statted stuff for like when they had RuneQuest, but they also statted it for D&D for a while too. I think
Rolaids might have done it too.
Yeah, I think Rolaids might have done it too. I know one company doing it currently. The one game Achtung Cthulhu. If you've seen that, it's basically Nazis and Lovecraftian horror.
Oh, from Cubicle 7?
It's Modifius Entertainment.
Okay, I'm thinking of something because Cubicle 7 also did something very similar.
They have World War Cthulhu.
Okay.
This one's a little more like
Cubicle 7. They did Bash, didn't they? The superhero game Bash?
No? I don't remember. But Achtung Cthulhu is statted for Call of Cthulhu 6th edition and for Savage Worlds. So, because I'm looking at one of the books I got at Origins right now. So, but yeah, there's still some companies who do multi-statted stuff. But yeah, I can imagine it could be a pain if there's no equivalence of like a monster from one system to another. You kind of have to, you might have to wing it a little. But I don't know. Well, let's get into the meat and the potatoes of this thing, like the Game Master's introduction. And basically, it comes down to there was a priest of Seth who is looking for. He finds another. How do I? I guess I could just read it. It's probably the best. Some of the background of this mini module depends on the Egyptian myths of Osiris, Horus, and Seth, and might find it useful to read through an article on Egyptian mythology or read deities and demigods.
No way, readings for nerds.
I know. So
they say GM, not DM.
Yeah, they say GM. Seth was the chief god of Upper Egypt, Lord of the desert, animals and storms. It's animals and it's storms in the desert. And with unification of upper and lower kingdoms, his place was usurped by Osiris of the lower kingdom. The ensuing struggle, while leaving Osiris dead, resulted in the destruction of Seth's temples and the scattering of his followers by those of Horus. So Horus and Seth somewhat joined up to try to fight Osiris, but Seth died. There's one of his followers called Sethotep, as he calls himself, hid in the desert for many years, and he come across some nomads that lived as bandits, and they had a hidden oasis that they used as their stronghold. And Sethotep found a temple to Seth and his ally Sobek, lord of marshes and crocodiles.
Keep thinking Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep, yeah. He's some kind of Bubba Hotep, huh? He deciphered the hieroglyphics in this temple, and basically using this place as trying to rebuild the worship of Seth, and he's trying to find a scroll that tells about the whereabouts of the true tomb of Osiris. He's recently stolen this papyrus scroll and is working to decipher it, for which his rival's body in his power, Seth must surely be able to regain his old mastery. So there's some interesting contretemps going on there. But that's the basic background. He's trying to Sethotep is trying to regain Seth's power by finding this scroll. And the adventuring party, how they get into this, is at a city called Hierosopolis. Hierakopolis. And the adventuring party is hired by the chief scribe and high priest of Nebertahut. Boy, this is real tough reading. Nebertahut, sorry. Pardon me, everybody. And he's a worshiper of Thoth. And he wants the adventuring party to find out why that there's caravans that are being attacked. And that's where it kind of goes from there. So guys want to kind of go on from there and see what else about the adventure. I'm just kind of giving the background here. So,
well, it has its typical where the player should start, what you need to do, and it has its little rumor table.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this adventure relies on the players taking their own actions, and it doesn't really guide the GM in the beginning. I should say DM. You notice it's like, I don't know if maybe a lot of the modules were written by TSR during that time period of this is what the players need to do, move them along. And I don't know. While I kind of like that in a sense, I don't like that anymore. That's just my opinion. I don't like it anymore at all.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a little more open, I guess.
Well, I like the openness of modules like this, but I like to have some type of structure other than let the players wander around and figure it out. It's just like,
right.
Okay, I got rumors. I have to sit and plan this out now. If I'm reading a module or something like this, I want to be told what I need to do.
Right. You want to have a suggestion for this is the best way to get the players to end up where you want them to without it making it seem like you're throwing them on a railroad.
Yeah, right. I was just rereading through this as we were going through like our introductions, and I was like, I don't remember how this thing ends, and there's not really an ending. It just says when this happens, I guess it's game over. Good job, everybody.
Yeah, it reminds me far more of like a pulp adventure than like a fantasy D&D adventure.
Yeah.
Throwing some guys from the 1920s with fedoras wandering through the desert looking for this ancient paper. This is great. For your fantasy campaign, it's like, I don't know.
I think one of the things that kind of, if you were going to, that kind of took me as how I was thinking, how would I fit this into a current campaign? Because it's so entrenched in the Egyptian mythology. How would that fit into somebody's game world? Yeah, you can't.
Right.
I mean, I could see this being as a one-off, like at a convention.
Right.
You know,
maybe if you were running Al-Qadim.
Yes, if you're using that as a campaign setting, but it's so entrenched in the ancient Egyptian mythos that I don't know how, unless that's part of your own homebrew campaign world, but anything that's beyond that, like at the time you had World of Greyhawk, really, and that was it. I mean, how would that fit in? Not at all. Not much.
You would have to throw in the undiscovered continent that has this more Egyptian flavor. I mean,
you would have to shove this way off the map somewhere.
Railroad the characters into it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think one reason this doesn't work that well is because it takes place in ancient Egypt.
Yeah,
it's not, ancient Egypt is I'm trying to think of how to phrase this.
It's not
you're in ancient Egypt, but that's like your contemporary time. Like everything's still new,
right?
So you're still in recently built ancient Egypt.
It's a historical fiction, essentially.
Yeah,
and I think that's where for me it's like, I couldn't fit this into a current campaign. This is a one-off adventure.
Mm-hmm. The players basically go ahead.
Unless your campaign is actually in ancient Egypt, So
you have to railroad them into this. They have to figure out which one of these rumors is true. Hook on to one of the rumors to even get this adventure started, if they believe it. Travel halfway across the oasis to get to this lost place, temple, whatever it's called, to fight all these weird monsters in this 1,000 room area. It looks like
it's so many rooms.
It's a lot of rooms.
Somebody jammed into 5 feet. It looks like.
Yeah, the map is I like the look of the map somewhat. It's not gridded.
We did
just to let everybody know.
We did get one new monster that I don't remember in any of the books, a poltergeist. I mean, it's just a spirit, but at least it's named something.
Yeah, the poltergeist is just like a wraith or like a wight or something like ghoul.
There was also something in here that I was questioning when I read the rules. It was about, I know we're not basic D&D, but what is the opposite of curse in basic D&D? It's blight?
No, it's not bless.
Bless.
Yeah.
Yeah, curse is the opposite of bless.
Or was it one of the other? It was the reverse, and it said in AD&D it's curse/bless, and I'm thinking it's the same thing in basic.
I'm looking at that right now. Yeah, there's where it says for basic D&D, it says any character attempting to steal the model. There's a model of what was it? A statue of Seth holding a model of a casket in which Osiris is trapped.
Yeah.
If you steal it, you get cursed. But under the basic D&D one, it says you have to save versus spell or suffer the effects of a blight, the reverse of second level cleric spell bless for 6 turns. For basic D&D.
I didn't know. I mean, I played what Lord Sword and Wizardry, Labyrinth Lord, and basic D&D, Menser, BX, RC. I never knew there was a blight. Anybody?
It's supposed to be the reverse of bless. It should be curse.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a typo.
Just like for AD&D. I think that's a typo. It's got to be. I mean, I could look at my basic D&D book right here.
That's what I'm doing right now. To the book.
I mean,
basic Menser.
I mean, this would be a perfect time for someone from Save or Die to jump in and say, "Ha, I'm an expert."
Somebody, quick, get Mike on the phone.
No.
I don't think that. So, like, spoiler alert, I don't think this module is very good. But I don't think it's unsalvageable.
it has potential.
Yeah, I think if you ramp up the pulpiness and take out, because there's a lot of monster encounters I've noticed.
A lot.
Take out a bunch of those and replace them with like wonky death traps.
I got to be honest. I didn't think there was enough monster encounters for my taste. But they're all the same type of monsters.
Yeah.
Just so everybody know, it's an interesting map. Don't get me wrong. I like the map because it's to what you would expect for ancient Egypt. But when it comes to the monsters, it's either zombies or skeletons and a few ghouls, and that's pretty much it. Some scorpions, and that's it. Not a whole lot of variety.
All jammed into one area.
All jammed into one area, pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, go figure.
I don't know. Is this supposed to be like an old temple or an old pyramid or something? The way it's structured, it's hard to tell.
I think it's an old temple, but I just want to jump back to what Nick was saying. We talked about it before the show started. All these scorpions and zombies, and not a single mummy.
Yeah.
I thought there was a mummy.
No, there's a mummy, but it's not an animated mummy.
Yeah, it's not like a mummy you fight. But there is, I guess that's the same mummy. There's a mummy on the front cover of this module in the illustration, which led me to believe that I would be fighting a mummy.
No.
Aw, Crispy's sad.
A little bit.
You miss your mummy?
I do.
I was waiting for someone to do that bad pun.
Oh my God, guys. Listen to this. Second level clerical spell, Bless. When reversed, this spell, Blight. It's called Blight in basic D&D.
Oh.
In which version?
Metzer. Which was out at the time.
Yeah, I played Advanced for so long that when I went back to basic, I probably just assumed it was that and never looked it up.
Yeah.
I have the least amount of experience with Menser. I'm more of a Moldvay guy.
Yeah, me too. But I looked it up in the book, and yeah, it's called Blight in basic D&D. Who would have known?
Though I do own an RC.
Now, one of the things about this that I thought, there's really good room descriptions. I thought that was kind of cool.
The room descriptions and like hidden treasures all over the place.
Like, here's a good example. Room G20, antechamber to the chapel of Sobek. The antechamber is empty except for a small altar bearing the decitatory inscription, bearing inscriptions to Sobek and caked with dried blood. A figure of Sobek is carved into the back wall of the antechamber, his arms outstretched in a protective gesture. The other walls bear scenes of Seth's flight to the swamp, Sobek rising to receive him, and the two gods killing falcons with their arrows and rampaging victoriously through the armies of the lower kingdom. That's a great description.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, most of the other places here are kind of meh as far as like monsters and stuff, but really good descriptions of the various rooms. I mean, at least it has that going.
It has, a very well-developed sense of interior design.
Yeah.
It's just all the other stuff is really boring.
Yeah, like when you get to the main burial chamber, I'm thinking, okay, this is where the mummy's going to show up. There's a mummy, but it's not animated. And I even wrote a little comment like, what? No mummy to fight? Lame. I would at least thrown it in there.
Yeah, I think there's something here if you just ramp up the fantasy and the pulp.
Yeah.
Like, why can't, like, you have a boss battle where, Seth has come back to life, and now I gotta stop him.
I just thought there was in my opinion, I think there's way too much treasure here for what you're fighting. At least from what I've seen.
Well,
and
to the DM to curb it if he doesn't want it, of course.
Yeah, that's true. I would have changed up some of the monsters a little. I mean,
yeah,
a couple of things two monsters that leap to my mind that you could have put in here. I think what are they called? The Huaycuva?
Mm-hmm.
That undead, the feet and folio. Those I think would fit in very well. You could pose them as like priests of Seth or some other maybe they're like posing as priests of Osiris, you know. So you could use them, or Sons of Caius would have been really good.
Blah, blah.
I just want to jump on the Fiend Folio thing. What's that mummy that like is coated in like double-sided tape?
Oh, the Adherer.
The Adherer. That would be fun to throw in here. You get your mummy. It's really stupid. It's great.
You know what? That would work. Or in the main burial chamber, just throw that in there. I mean, it's low enough hit dice. It's only 4 hit dice, the Adherer.
Mm-hmm.
And because a mummy is like, let everybody know this is for what second to fourth level characters. So maybe a mummy would be a bit too much.
Yeah, the whole curse and rotting flesh. Yeah,
a
little bit.
So
much.
maybe an Adherer just to kind of throw him for a loop, or a Son of Caius would be good in the main burial chamber, because then you got the Son of Caius coming up there, raising out of the sarcophagus, and little green worms start shooting out of its eye sockets at people. So. That's what I would do. I'm just trying to think of any other monsters that would be fitting to use in this sort of setting.
Very true to old school, because there's quite a few spots I count here that save versus and death.
Yes, there are a few of those.
Like really, I mean, save versus poison or death. It's like whoa.
Yeah, save or die. Lots of scorpions.
Yeah.
I mean, even like maybe putting some giant spiders and some giant rats in there too.
What about beetles? I mean,
beetles would be a really good
one. Giant scarab beetles. There you go. Yeah, giant scarab beetles would be awesome.
Yeah, you could even throw in from the Fiend Folio the Crypt Thing, the one that just teleports players randomly throughout this massive complex.
That would be good.
Where would you put one of these? Where would you put a Crypt Thing?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
No, it's I think Glenn talked about it a few episodes ago, but they did an episode on a Crypt Thing, and he just absentmindedly goes, I mean, where would you put these? And I was just like, I don't know, in a crypt.
Yeah, I heard all about that. You were just like, in a crypt.
Well, that's interesting. There's no description for room G29.
No?
That's where the Crypt Thing goes.
There you go. I'm looking 21, 23, 27, 28. Yeah, there's no description for room G29 on the map. There's your Crypt Thing. That's where you go. Actually, that long hall, you put him at the end, that'd be perfect.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, he's just sitting down there. He's like, yeah. I'm the Crypt Keeper.
He sounds like a gangster from the 30s.
Welcome to adventurers. He-Man.
Now he's Skeletor.
All Crypt Things are Skeletor. All liches and Crypt Things. Anything with a skull face is Skeletor.
Yeah, like yes, scarab beetles. Very good in this.
Excuse Nick, who's through puberty there.
Sorry there.
I think another good like addition for monsters would be like something like a Beast Man. Sorry.
Really, Crispy?
He went there. Why
don't you go do the Skeletor show that's on YouTube?
Hey, man.
Well, if you put Mum-Ra in this, we could make it a Thundercats theme.
Oh God.
Thunder.
Thundercats. Ho! Snarf!
Oh my god, we just totally derailed this. But you know what? Beastmen would be good with this. I could see them being useful in here. Mongrel men, maybe being used as minions. Those would be very good.
Oh, it'd be really cool if you had like sick mutant carnivore eating men in there that are just cannibals. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, cannibals.
Yes.
Yeah, variant basically of the cavemen.
Cannibals that are hiding in the temple, waiting and just stalking people and picking off NPCs as you go through it.
I actually went into the deities and demigods book, and I'm looking at the minions of Set. And like, well, those would be good. Then I'm looking at them like, 12 hit dice? No, sorry, a little too much for this adventure.
It's a whap. I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah. No kidding.
A thing I did notice talking about like cannibals or something like that in the temple, you only really face these desert nomads in a couple areas at the beginning. Like, why are there no nomads
in the temple? Yeah,
it just has to do with it's the temple and they're scared.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And that's where I would probably, as a DM, that's where you come into like some non-human minions for this guy. You know, for Sethotep, like either, you know, beastmen or mongrel men, or maybe something brand new. Maybe like the one god who's like the god of alligators may has like some sort of alligator men, like a variant of lizard men, or something like that.
Would the god of potatoes fit in here?
The god of potatoes?
Yeah.
Oh, he's from Ireland. Oh.
Did any of you notice any magic items?
No.
The opening talks specifically about like magic items that Sethotep had found in the dungeon, helping, or the in the temple, helping him to carry out murders, and you don't find any.
No.
There is a wand. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Hold on. Yes. No, wait. I am incorrect. Hold on. Yeah, I thought there was a wand. Well, if you're using Dragon Quest, the wand of the fire and brimstone spell.
That sounds really lame.
Yeah.
I've never played Dragon Quest, but it sounds lame. I'm glad that it's dead.
Yeah, it seemed kind of meh.
I think they got a little lazy in some spots when they put the flight of the stairs is similar to those in H1.
Yeah, they just kind of
a little lazy going on there.
I think we're losing interest.
Well, they probably only had so many pages and they got a little wordy, so they had to do some editing. Mm-hmm. Hence why there's no G29.
It is really wordy. That is something I noticed.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, it's all the three different stat boxes that you have there.
Yeah.
Where is G29 on the map?
It's in the center of the temple.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking on the side.
But I did not see a description for it at all in the reading. I'm looking and I don't see it.
Someone has to contact Mr. Davis and ask him what the hell, dude.
Yeah, that would be a fun conversation.
He has a blog.
I mean, overall, it's not like terrible. It's not like Force Oracle bad.
Oh, jeez, no.
Yeah, it's fixable. It's really fixable.
It's got potential.
Right.
So we moving into rating this module now?
I think so. I mean, like, there's a lot of rooms, but I don't think there's a lot of meat to this. It's also only 8 pages long.
Yeah, it's not huge.
So what are we rating this module? We'll start with you, Nick.
What is it, out of 5
swords? Yeah.
Out of 5 swords, 2.5. I give it 2.5, middle of the road. Like I said, it's got potential. There's a lot of good things you could do with it, but as it stands, it's rather mediocre. There's the missing description of room G29, but I mean, you could beef up some of the encounters to make it a little more challenging to the adventurers, in my opinion, because of the yield of the treasure to me is not proportional to what you're fighting. Like, there's a place where There's a lapis lazuli and emerald armlets, and there's 2 zombies you got to fight, and they're worth like 300 gold each and 1,200 gold. And,
I wonder if there was any what do they call those errata for this, or whatever the hell, for maybe a correction in a future magazine. Oh, we left out room 29.
Actually, if you look at the map, there's no room 28.
Oh.
So 28 is 29. Yes, look at it. Because I was just reading G14, and it references G28, and there's no G28 off G14. There's a G20.
So it's actually G29 should be G28. They misnumbered it, basically.
Okay.
Wow. Because I'm looking for it, like, where the hell is it?
Yeah, there is no G28.
Yeah, that's supposed to be G28.
Yep.
I wonder
right.
if
they numbered it incorrectly.
I wonder if G27B should have been G28.
Possibly.
And they were supposed to do another room for 29, but they left it as A and B. They went, oh, let's make it A and B.
No, G28's the inner sanctuary, the great chamber with the huge seated statue of Seth. That area looks like it would be the inner sanctuary.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So they just numbered it incorrectly on the map. Okay, there you go. But yeah, 2.5 swords.
Way to go, map drawer.
Good job, Magellan.
Who did this map? Let's see.
Vasco da Gama?
No. It would be worth a lot more if he did, but cartography, Paul Ruiz.
Paul, hang your head in shame.
If he's still
Paul.
He failed his cartography skill roll.
Whoa, the art was done by Brian Williams. Isn't he that news reporter that claimed it? Oh,
yeah.
That guy.
That guy, yeah.
Yes, that guy.
So anyway, okay, Crispy, what do you rate this thing?
I say 2 out of 5 swords.
Crispy with low rating.
I mean, it's salvageable, but I feel like it's a lot of work that now I got to do.
Yeah.
You're a lazy DM like me. I'm the laziest. Nick kind of hit everything on the head, so I don't, just Matt, can you make an edit here where you just copy and paste everything Nick said?
Yes, I will splice together your words so it's identical to what Nick said.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
It's interesting. I forgot the end of the adventure, like as Crispy was mentioning, it just kind of ends.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just like they stop the guy and.
I like the line here. It says, the merchant class, while grateful, will demand the return of their merchandise and a sum several times greater than the treasure from the bandit's lair. Excuse me?
How does that work?
Yeah. So we're going in there, fixing everything, coming back, but we got to give you all your crap back, plus,
But you're charging interest?
Yeah, and interest just for doing it for you.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so. Slaughter the merchant class.
Yeah.
That's where you go to another town. They just never see you again.
I would rate this 1 sword.
Ooh. It's coming in with the low ratings.
Yeah, I'm going with the low rating on this one because while I like the whole setup and everything, I can't find a use for this in any campaign I've ever done ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the effort they put into this, and if I wanted to run an ancient Egypt campaign, a one-shot or a convention like Nick is saying, this is perfect. Other than that, you know why it's 1 sword? Because I can use the map for something else.
There you go.
Even though it's screwed up.
Yeah.
We can change that 9 into an 8 real easy.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
It'd be like that little kid who does the loop 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So speaking of little kids who do loop 8s, Matt, what do you rate this?
Why, thank you. I'm going, it's a 2. It falls in that weird spot. It's not pulpy enough for me to just stick it in a pulp fit campaign, but it doesn't have enough fantasy for my fantasy campaign. It just exists.
It's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's just kind of there. I mean, it's kind of
for Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
Doc Savage Adventures.
Yeah, you could do like a Savage World-ish thing in it, but...
I could see using this for Call of Cthulhu, maybe.
Maybe, but you still got to work it a little bit more.
You just wouldn't have it in ancient Egypt.
Right, yeah, just modernize it a touch, but it's just, I don't know. It's in that weird, it's not good in either direction. It's in the middle, which just makes it kind of in a no man's land in the middle of the desert. So, yeah.
Play on the words there.
Yes. So, yeah.
So, it's basically going to be a 2, I think, right? We add it all up? Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, we'll put a link of this module from, I guess, a Google Drive, Matt, or a Dropbox link, or how do you normally do it?
We'll figure it out. It may even already be up on archive.org, because I think at one point all the Imagine magazines were up there. So I'll see if I can find that.
Okay.
Imagine.
It gets a 1.875.
Thank you, Chris.
Repeating.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, let's go in there. Let's go, Leroy.
Who's Nick talking to? Anyway, let's head over to Creature Feature.
This podcast is brought to you in part by a not very generous grant from Lesser Gnome, publisher of quality role-playing games since last year. Gnomes value high-minded programming just like you. Learn more at their website, www.lessergnome.com.
Are you enjoying the show you're listening to right now? Want to help support the show? Why not head over to the Patreon site, patreon.com/WGP. That's patreon.com/WGP. And help support the network for as little as $1.50 a month. That's right, $1.50 a month goes a long way. Thank you.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long gorilla?
Creature Feature Theater.
And now we're going into the Creature Feature, and we're going to discuss a creature that won't actually ever attack your party. No, it won't actually.
Sort of.
It doesn't do anything itself.
It's kind of cool. Oh.
It's kind of
It is
cool.
cool. It's mean. It's
yeah,
just, it's one of those
evil.
mean DM things.
For it, evil. Yes, because it's the Eye of Fear and Flame from our wonderful, lovely Fiend Folio.
Yep.
This creature is kind of like the devil on your shoulder that tells you to do bad things, because that is actually what he does. This is just like a hooded man-sized figure that lurks in the underworld, so you could even throw him in that temple in our module if you really wanted to.
Hit dice 12.
Yes, hit dice 12, but he'll never actually attack your party. Because what he does is he has no alignment power, so he can speak your alignment language. Yes, so he will, in your alignment language, speak in your tongue and try to tell you to do naughty things, very naughty and evil things. So, but it says he will try to command you to do this, but it never actually says he uses any magic to do it. It just says, he's telling you to go kill your party members. But I don't want to. Why don't you go kill them? Because I don't want to.
So he's just annoying, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I was going to say, he's just a really assertive dude.
Yes.
Right.
It's like, hey, I need you to do this.
Right.
Come on, man.
Because nowhere does it say they're compelled. Nowhere does it say it's a spell or an ability.
There's no save versus spell.
No, it just says he tells you to do it. And if you don't do it, then things get a little nasty.
Wait,
Kill the dwarf. No, I don't want to. Oh, please.
It does say if the eye is attacked or its commands are not obeyed, it will cast back the hood and reveal its bare skull.
Right.
Therein lies the
Surprise!
Yes. Because this is the only way he will actually attack your party in a 12-die fireball sort of way every 3 melee rounds.
So he's going to come up and say, go kill the wizard. No. Go kill the wizard. No. Come on, go kill the wizard. No. All right, screw it. Pull the hood off and kill you.
Right.
Yeah, that's the red gem. But what about the black one?
Yes, that's called he casts fear every round.
Yeah.
Yes, every melee he will be casting fear, and every 3 melees, a 12-hit dice fireball. Should you decide to start engaging with him, he can also go back to the wonderful plane that he came from.
Yeah, he can become ethereal.
Yes, he goes back to the ethereal plane, He doesn't have any way to do hand-to-hand combat, so if somehow you're immune to fireballs and fear, he can't really do anything to you, at which point he'll just run away. So, and it's rumored he was created by the gods of chaotic evil to bring destruction to lawful good, or perhaps by the lawful neutral gods just to test people. He's just there to keep the paladins in check.
And there's rumored there'll be about 20 of these guys.
Right, in the entire existence, 20.
Yeah.
So, God, number of appearing 1. Imagine all 20 showed up.
So every 3 rounds, we'll be rolling 246 sided dice of fireball.
TPK, man, TPK.
Unless you have a ring of fire protection or something like that.
Then at which point they're the lamest group of 20 monsters ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Crispy wants to do it. So, Crispy, how would this creature sound if he was talking to somebody?
It depends. Is his hood on or off?
Well,
his hood is on. Let's start there.
Oh, he definitely has the Wishmaster voice, which I can't do.
The Wishmaster? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. And then when he removes his hood to reveal his bare skull, he's Skeletor. I explained the rules very clearly earlier.
I was just trying to give you an excuse to do the voice.
Oh.
He won't do it.
I know.
But I'll do it.
That was pretty bad.
I know.
My question...
This is a pretty messed up creature.
Yes, it is. It's like, I'm trying to think, how do you use this?
I really, really like it.
But I don't know how to I like it, but I'm like, what would I do with this? I'm going to kill my party if I have them not do it. Unless I had a really gullible party member I could have some fun with. Be like, hey, orc with a wisdom of 6, your friends are actually trying to do evil things. You need to stop them and kill them. Oh, okay.
I mean, the one thing about, if you do kill him, you get the gems, which lose their, basic powers, and it's just like 1,000 to 2,000 gold pieces. At that level, who cares?
Right. So
look, Warren Buffett picked up all the gold pieces that he comes across, even though he has 7 strongholds.
Right.
I would. One way I think I would use this creature would be is if you were in a
killing the groove.
Well, if the party was in an evil temple, and
with the crypt thing.
Well, yeah, maybe with the crypt thing, but maybe they quote unquote desecrated the evil temple in some way. Maybe they desecrated the altar in there. Maybe this is the curse is that an eye of fear and flame goes after the party.
Yeah, but unless you do something with and give them some sort of command ability, that just saying do evil things, no, all he turns into is I'm fireballing you.
Yeah.
At that point, it's kind of lame.
So he's like a little kid. Let's play kickball. No.
Fireball. Katie Kaboom from Animaniacs.
There you go, yeah.
The Eye of Fear and Flame is Katie Kaboom. You make him angry, he fireballs you.
Wow, that's going back into the Wayback Machine, dude.
Yes, it is. But yeah,
I do like the monster. I think it's pretty cool in itself, but it's like, how would you fit that in? I mean, that was just one suggestion. I mean, I don't know how else would you maybe put it in there, Vince?
I want to give him Charm Person.
Yeah.
Give him Charm Person, and then you could have some fun with this. He charms you, then makes you do evil things.
There you go.
I had a similar thought where I would beef him up. I would give him the ability to grant a wish, but in order to get your wish, you have to do a bad thing. And then if you don't do maybe there's a time limit for when it he'll give you the wish, and then in return you have to kill someone, and that's why he has fireball powers, because if you renege on your bet, he has the ability to hopefully kill your party member.
Demon.
Yeah, really play up the Wishmaster thing. I think that's really
a good idea.
Did you watch Wishmaster recently, Crispy, or something?
No. I just You know,
It's his favorite movie.
it is. You got me. It's what I fall asleep to every night.
It's the Citizen Kane of horror films.
Anyway, so let's head into Sage Advice for the last bit of the show here. We have a couple emails and some voicemails. And let's play the first voicemail from DM Steve.
This message is for Vince and the RFI team. This is DM Steve. I've been listening to Volume 6, Issue 178, The Hero's Journey. Actually, a little bit out of order. I listened to what you did, Vince, for the North Texas RPG Con first, and that was really good. But as the originator of the I dislike DM Crispy, he makes me vomit genre, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you guys bringing that one back up on Volume 6, 178, Hero's Journey. It gave me a good laugh. Anyhow, that's about it. Keep up the good work. Enjoy the show. See you.
So, yeah, that's all you got to say, Chris?
I would like to add that Steve's voice gives me irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh, he's going to blast that.
Oh, man.
All right, so thank you, DM Steve. Yes, we're keeping the joke still alive as Crispy is back again just to make you vomit every show for the past 3 shows.
That's why I came on here, was Vince was like, hey, there's this dude who hates the sound of your voice. And I was like, now I gotta come. I gotta be a semi-permanent fixture of RFI.
Vince was sitting there back one day. It's like, you know what this show needs? Vomiting.
Yes.
We don't have enough vomiting in this.
Look, thousands of models' careers were launched by vomiting. So, if anything, maybe I'm doing Steve a favor. Maybe Steve needs to lose a couple pounds.
Whoa. But he's a hand model.
Alrighty then. So Crispy will be here for the rest of the summer, so too bad.
Uh-huh.
Until Crispy decides to go away for another 2 to 3 years.
Crispy needs things to do on weekends, so...
Oh, now he's speaking about himself in third person.
Crispy does that often, Nick.
Ooh,
really?
Crispy can now be the permanent, non-permanent 4th chair for a while.
Right, because if we make him permanent, something will befall him that'll make him go away.
It's like I have always said, it's like the drummer from Spinal Tap, man. You're gonna burst into flame.
Oh man,
Eaten by orcs.
I've always wanted to explode.
I don't know. Run over by a bus full of nuns. Maybe all at the same time.
I was in a ska band in high school, and our name was A Gang of Nuns. So it would be fitting.
That would be a screen name that you'd use for Call of Duty Black Ops. You were killed by a gang of nuns.
Yeah, so we can't make you a permanent person, Crispy, because if we do, that means you have to automatically get another job or go away. So
yeah,
teleported away by a crypt thing.
Yep.
I'm good just hanging out and being on every once in a while.
Every once in a while, it's a permanent, semi-non-permanent fixture.
Yeah.
Sounds
and then
good.
Also, this way you don't have to start a new season.
Yes.
Hey, volume, pal.
Sorry, volume.
Good point.
Actually, somebody did email in asking about how we numbered our volumes and decided it, and we were just like, man, new host, new volume, whatever.
Yeah.
I know. I listened to that episode.
You did?
I did.
You're such a good fan.
It's
amazing.
True. Let's go into our last voicemail from DM Raul.
Hey, this is DM Raul calling about the Roll for Initiative podcast. You guys were talking about Western role playing, and I was wondering if any of you had taken a look at the D20 Horizons incarnation called Spellslinger, which married both the Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 with the Wild West, and trading out races. For instance, trading out the Native Americans for a more wolf-like race. Thought that was kind of interesting when I was thumbing through the book. Wondered if you had taken a look at that. Also, there was a Fantasy Flight Games fan-created item called Edge of the Union that looked very interesting. It's Wild West, of course, and using the funny dice system that the Fantasy Flight Games did. Anyway, just a couple of questions I had for you. Thought you might be familiar. If not, maybe I can provide you a couple of copies, and we'll see where it goes. Thanks. Bye.
So the game that he's talking about, the Spellslinger game, I know you guys requested that did. I remember that game did come out around 3rd edition, 3.5 era, and it was there was also another game that came out along with the Sidewinder. It was when they tried to capitalize on the D20 license and make up every game possible in the world, and Western was one of them, which just doesn't really work.
He also mentioned the one by Fantasy Flight Games in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember the name of it.
But you do remember Spellslinger, though.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I had a copy of it because one of my friends wanted to play it, but we played Sidewinder instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was more Western, like Spellslinger was more D&D with guns added to it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I wanted magic in Westerns, I'd probably be doing more Deadlands.
Aces and Eights, maybe?
Well, Aces and Eights is more real.
Yeah, it's more just alternate history, Wild West.
Yeah, whereas Deadlands actually does have undead and magic and all of that.
Yeah, that's Weird West, absolutely.
All right, cool. 570-865-4210 is the hotline. rfistaff@gmail.com is our email address. We do have 2 emails that I've pulled out of the email bag from our various emails. One does come from a DM Freddy, and he's asking a question we've seen quite a bit lately. I don't know why, but he's asking about the Thork modules, the Giant series that we did. We never got a chance to do a review for, but we released them.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, do you remember where that link was? Because I couldn't find it.
We held off on releasing them until we reviewed them. And eventually, I think we just linked them on like the OSR gaming forums, an iteration of that ago. So I'm not actually sure where they are. I mean, we could try to throw something new up for people to download.
Mm-hmm. If you still have them, just throw them up for people to download because he's looking for them. And I've had that email a couple times recently. So
yeah. I guess people are going through the back catalog and playing catch up.
Well, yeah. Jason Chapman just went through. He wrote me an email. He was on Google Plus. I don't know if you saw it, Matt, but he was listening to some of the back shows, and I quoted the RFI listeners as the RFI Army back on Volume 1, issue like 30 something.
Oh,
so we have an army?
The RFI Army. So he made up a graphic called the RFI Army, taking back AD&D since 2009 or something like that.
Nice.
He's like, hey, better late than never. Only 6 years later.
Right.
Yeah, hey.
It happens.
And our last email, Nick, I'm going to throw to you from DM Minstrel because you have experience in this and be able to answer it.
I guess it starts out here. Recently, I started playing D&D with friends with 4E after 30 years away, which felt too mechanical. As 5E came out, we quickly switched over. My friends came from video games and many encounter results in hack and slash instead of looking for creative solutions. I put completely impossible odds in front of them to get them to attempt other approaches, but nothing seems to keep them from suicide. Do you have any ideas how to get them to be more creative and think of outside of the box ideas? Should I not hold back and allow them to have a TPK to get some humility? Yes, let them TPK.
Yeah. I agree.
Tough love, man. Tough love. That's what I think. It's just sometimes you got to learn the hard way. I mean, just don't get too attached to the characters. They TPK, so what? You roll out some more. It's like, now you guys know what not to do.
Right.
Right? Well, and there's, I have started my 2 girls, 9 and 12 years old, into D&D and Call of Cthulhu, which they love. Unfortunately, many of the adventures call for about 4 to 6 PCs, which means either they both play 2-player characters or I have 2 NPC helpers plus the regular. I've done the latter, and it's a ton of work to manage the campaign and help them through without just running both sides. Do you have any suggestions or modules or mini campaigns suitable for 2 players? or recommendations how to run more easily the NPCs to do a standard adventure. That's tough.
Can I jump in here with this?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think that the player rules necessarily have to apply to everything in the game world. If you're going to run 2 NPCs for them, maybe like 2 mercenaries or hirelings or whatever, I think just every couple rounds maybe you could, narratively say that they've taken out another guy or, a guy or 2 or something like that.
Yeah, that is a lot of work for a DM. So.
It is. And especially if you're running everything under the same system, so if you're running your NPCs as PCs that you're just controlling as well as controlling all of the monsters, I think you can treat that with a little more of a narrative instead of like a simulation or gamist sense.
Yeah.
I guess another thing that you could do, like he's saying, they're usually for about 4 to 6, player characters, and you only have 2 players, and they're just learning. They can't handle playing multiple characters. What you could do, I think to offset that is you could increase the levels of the 2 PCs to compensate for it.
I've done that before.
And I think that would work out.
Yeah.
That's another way you could do it.
Yeah. You could also steal something from 4th edition when it comes to dealing with if you have an adventure that has and you encountered 10, 20 of whatever, like orcs, kobolds, goblins, whatever. Make them all steal the minion mechanic where they have 1 hit point.
I love the minion mechanic. I think the minion mechanic is wonderful. But I also love 4th edition as a skirmish minis battle game.
Oh yeah, it's a great tactical miniatures game.
So we should disconnect Matt and Crispy right now, Nick?
Yeah, I think so.
No, as a tabletop war game, 4th edition is great.
Matt, you're off the show.
And he's looking for mini campaigns. I don't know of any mini campaigns, but I think an interesting thing might be to look at 2nd edition's Birthright, which is more about politics, and also your PCs are generally assumed to be more powerful than the average Joe Schmo. And so you can sort of maybe, instead of doing a big dungeon crawl, you can kind of get them more into the role playing of court intrigue. Really? I think that would be well suited for young girls. And then
they might be interested in that, yeah.
Yeah, they'll go into middle school and they'll already know how to manipulate people and enact Machiavellian plots, and they'll become queens of their middle school.
Yeah, but they got to make sure you can't really poison people. You can't actually physically backstab people.
You definitely should let them know that real life actual murder is off the table.
Yeah. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. Disclaimer.
Or just don't get caught.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's a
so
Machiavellian plot, they're definitely not going to get caught. But
where's that HR him thing going on? HR is going to get us now.
I know. Moving on.
Yeah.
Lastly, my oldest, who's 12, and I are going to Gen Con for our first time. We did a local convention last fall, which she loved. Do you have advice for first timers? Should we buy dedicated tickets for each event? Should we just pick 1 or 2 per day and get general tickets and look for spots open, or will we be disappointed for waiting for empty spots all day? Well, for me, I do have some experience with this. My youngest, she's 15. She went with me to Origins this year, and I guess one thing you would look at is does your child have the exact same interests as you as far as gaming's concerned? Okay. And thanks for the chime.
HR?
Yeah, it's HR, I think.
No,
was that HR?
That was HR, but keep going.
Okay.
We're ignoring HR.
Yes, we are. We're on a roll. But yeah, find out what their interests are in gaming, if they have the exact same ones. Like for Phoenix, or Anna, she's not all entirely in my sort of game. She's really more into Pokemon than anything else.
Does she play Pokemon Go?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, I played Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I went to Disneyland last weekend. That was a Pokemon Go treasure trove.
My wife plays Pokemon.
Me and some of my coworkers were playing Pokemon Go on our afternoon break this afternoon because there's a Poke Stop right behind our office building.
Oh,
my
nice.
God. Anyway, not to derail this, but you know, I when I saw, I let her know that there's events like that going on there, and she spent most of her time doing that. I'm like any parent, keeping tabs on her, make sure she's doing okay, texting her, calling her, whatever, and that seemed to work. It worked out very well.
Well, the difference with Gen Con is
it's ginormous.
Yes, you're looking at about 65-ish thousand people. It's a giant mass of humanity. Also, if you haven't pre-regged, get in line early, because you can have Saturdays. If the computers get a little wonky, you can have a multi-hour wait to get your badge if you haven't pre-regged.
It was like that at Origins on the first day. On Wednesday, it was like that. Yeah. There was people missing their events, or they were like halfway. The event was halfway through, but luckily a lot of the GMs and stuff were letting people in because of the delays.
Right.
But, yeah, even Gen Con be like that for sure. Excuse me. I guess if it's their first time, I would actually play it kind of loose. I wouldn't go into with a very strict regimen of what you're going to do as far as gaming is concerned. I'd probably get some generics, maybe one organized play that you're getting into each day. I would just try to get one event each day, maybe, or maybe just a couple of days at an event, because there's so much going on. And if it's their first time, you really want them to get the full experience of it. And one thing I've learned from my own personal experience is try to look for events that are towards the evening so you can have your day open to go to the exhibit hall.
Right. Unless there's something you really, really want to play, and even if you got locked out of tickets, if it's an 8 a.m. event, you might be able to sneak in with generics because people don't always make those events.
Right. So at least that's one of the things I do. I like to get events late afternoon, evening, and then during the day I could go to the exhibit hall and look around at stuff. And but like Matt said, go ahead and if there's something that's you really want to get into, if it's during the day, by all means, go ahead and do it. So that's my 2 copper pieces on it.
Yeah, Gen Con is huge. The exhibit hall, to really go through it, you could spend an entire day and still not really see everything. My suggestion, go through the exhibit hall, and as you're seeing new games you've never heard of, that's when you find out, hey, what events do you have? And then those are the ones you can usually also sneak into and be like, and then you're trying new things and you're getting to experience stuff that you wouldn't even think of going. If you planned out your Gen Con now, you're going to miss a lot of serendipitous adventures because you're already blocked out. Whereas the best Gen Cons for me have always been, I just wander, and what I get into is what I get into.
Yeah,
and that's when I seem to enjoy myself the most. When you
exactly,
because otherwise, when you have the rigid blocks, Gen Con's expanded so much, you're just going to be running around city block to city block to event to event, and you're going to be stressed, and you're going to
be wiped out at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it'll hit the point where you'll be like, I don't even want to do this event. It's too far. I'm too tired. Whereas if you have just leave it a little more loose and open, then you could okay, I just need a break now, and I need to get away from just all these people.
Yeah,
because sometimes you just need that.
Well, my daughter's like that. She kind of gets sensory overload, and I said to her, "Hey, you want to go back to the hotel room? Let me know. Let you back in there, and you could just hang out there." So that being another thing that might be, might take into consideration. You want to take some breaks here and there. Absolutely. Right. You don't want to get overwhelmed.
I know I planned my second time I went to Gen Con in 2011. I had 2 games I played, and the rest of the time I just wandered around with Jason back then, interviewing everybody we can get our hands on and trying to find Matt, who disappeared for a lot of the times because he was gaming. How dare he?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was playing HeroClix. I was grinding out HeroClix
Yes,
events.
you were.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, because basically for every 4 games, I was getting a $100 figure, and it only cost me $48 to play those 4 events. So I was making money that Gen Con.
You were, definitely getting your money's worth.
Yes, I was, and actually I did that at the Origins prior to that Gen Con to help pay for Gen Con. Yeah, that's
right. I do remember that.
I went to Origins and I ended up selling the convention exclusives I got, and we had like $400 or $500 profit.
Which paid for Gen Con for you.
Yes.
But as far as Gen Con, there's so many events. What Matt says, keep your schedule rather open. You want to spend some time looking at exhibit hall because it's ginormous. And there's plenty of pickup games you can get into. But if there's like 1 or 2 events that look like you want to get into together, by all means, do it. But try to space it out. Give yourselves enough time to, look around, meet some people, eat.
Yes.
Things like that.
Yeah, they have bar nights and everything. You can hang out. Well, you can't bring your daughters to that, but you can do yourself. But hang out with the guys. And there's the Any Awards you can watch because that's always interesting to see who won and the up and coming games and people like that.
Yeah, the auction is fun.
The auction's fun. Frank used to run in Origins. Frank Metzer did.
Yeah,
he does. Him and Tim Cass do a great job at North Texas RPG Con. I'll tell you that.
They were also doing Gen Cons as well. The reason they stopped Origins is because of Ohio law regarding auctioneers. You actually have to be licensed to hold an auction.
Yeah, that was like at 99 or 2000. I think that was the last time they did it.
Yeah, and that's why basically the Origins went to more of a silent auction format for most of the days, and they have an auctioneer one day. Their auction's kind of meh. The last I've seen.
One little tip though, when you're looking through the exhibit hall, if you want to buy something, unless you really, really want it, then try to wait until Sunday.
Yeah,
because that's the time when they're all going to be packing up that evening, or at least most of them will be, and they don't want to bring a lot of that stuff back with them. So you might get some really good discounts.
Well, there is a caveat with that. If it's a new release, just go ahead and buy it.
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
Because they're going to run out.
But if it's something that's been out for a while and you haven't bought it, and it's like, oh, there it is, and you wait until Sunday, it's like 50% off, then like, boom, there you go.
Yeah, Cool Stuff Inc. is usually good for doing that. They, on Sundays, will every hour mark down like the board games in their booth. To the point where you'll get a $50 game for $5.
Also look for what I call boo-boo books, or boo-boo boxes, the ones that they've kind of been dented up and stuff like that. I think, was it Troll and Toad? They usually has a pretty good setup.
Not anymore. Troll and Toad, if you even go to their website, when it comes to the old games and stuff, it's not there. They're more just miniatures and collectible cards.
There's someone else that does it too. I went to their booth at Origins.
Cool Stuff has that, the dented stuff.
And just for the heck of it, they had, hold on to your hat here, Vincent. I actually bought Pathfinder role-playing game, the core rule book. I was interested, but it normally retails for $54.99. It's a little dented at top. I got it for $20.
Yeah,
you can't pass that up.
Right.
I got for Call of Cthulhu the massive boxed campaign. I was reading through it finally. Horror on the Orient Express that came out just a few years back. Just a couple of years, they revised it, and it's huge. It normally retails for, I think, $120. I got it for $75 because the box was torn on the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So huge savings.
Yeah,
there.
their scratched and ding is very liberal when it comes to what they considered scratched and ding, because some of those I would consider that, hey, that's just normal shelfware.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you could, I would say at the minimum, the lowest was like 30% off, and it's usually anywhere between 30 to 50%, if not more.
Right. Yeah.
So definitely look for stuff like that. Practically everything I bought was a ding book, a boo-boo book.
Yeah.
So
yeah, at Origins, I only made it up for like a couple hours in the afternoon and wandered the hall, and all I did was come away with cat board games. Because I bought a game called Here Kitty Kitty, where basically you're trying to be the crazy cat lady and hoard all the cats in the neighborhood. It's actually really fun. I took it to. We didn't have our Ravenloft campaign because like 3 people were out, so me and 2 other guys played some games, and I happened to bring this to show them. And we played this. I sold 2 copies that night. They both ordered it right on the spot when they played it.
Oh. Okay.
Because it's a fun, light game that you can get non-gamers to play, but it does have some strategy to it. So they're like, oh, this would be perfect to play with like my niece. This will be perfect to play with like non-gamer friends or whatever. So it's actually a really good game. So I bought that, and I also bought Schrodinger's Cats, another game that one of my other buddies ended up buying after playing it. It's basically Liar's Dice with cats and physicist cats. With some cards and some random effects thrown in.
A good card game is Exploding Kittens. That's a good one.
Yes.
Gotta find that one. Okay, get that cat out of here.
Get it out of here. So that's going to wrap up the show this week. rfistaff@gmail.com, 570-865-4210, as we put a wrap to another show, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. No, I'm not Chuck Woolery, sorry. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.